You are watching Van TV Media, your favorite channel.
Fellow Kenyans, brothers and sisters, we have all come to the profound realization that our country is on sale. Shockingly, the buyer is also the seller. Kenya yetu inauzwa, na cha kushangaza muuzaji ndiye mnunuzi. In the year 2013, a group of powerful individuals sat in a room and made a plan to be the wealthiest men in the world, to the disenfranchisement of many Kenyans. They hatched a grand scheme that would earn them an empire only similar to the Russian oligarchs. It was simple. Steal as much as you can, make Kenya poor as much as you can, then bring back the money that has been stolen and buy everything that is valuable in Kenya, then dominate the people as their landlords. However, they had to overcome one obstacle. Kenya had just received a new constitution, which required every shilling of revenue, including money borrowed, to be deposited in the consolidated fund. From there, it would be allocated by Parliament to the recurrent and development expenditure, withdrawals of which would be made with the approval of the Controller of Budget, and the Auditor General would audit it. These individuals decided to cheat the law. They tasked the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, then the Chairman of Budget, to table and pass an amendment to the Public Finance Management Act, which will allow them to open government accounts abroad and to even spend abroad. The unconstitutional law allowed them to open several accounts across the world without parliamentary approval, borrowing money on behalf of the people of Kenya, stealing it without getting to the consolidated fund. A very convenient escape from the Controller of Budget and the Auditor General's audit. Since that time, fellow Kenyans, our country has been robbed in a despicable manner. So much money has been stolen that the figures look absolutely unbelievable. It is even difficult for me as morara kebaso to make Kenyans understand the magnitude and billions of trillions when most of them have never touched a million shillings in their life. This money was stashed abroad in bank accounts across various continents, from Hong Kong to Cayman Islands, to Jersey City, to Dubai, to Panama, to Malta. Money was stolen and kept abroad. This money was meant for your health care. It was meant for your children's education. It was meant for your own education. It was meant for development projects across the nation that would save Kenya and that would give millions of jobs. And it was stolen with uttermost greed and reckless abandon. Our country has been deliberately made poor. Why? It is because they want to make it cheap for the buyer. State corporations that employ very many Kenyans have been run down to intentionally make losses so that these individuals can justify privatization of these institutions. The hyenas of Kenya have decided they want to eat their own children, and they have accused them of smelling like goats. Unfortunately, the hyenas want to eat everything. Including national assets that are sensitive to national security. A case in point is the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. The Kenyan law does not permit any Kenyan to buy any public asset unless through a very tedious process under the Asset and Disposal Act and many other laws. But here comes a foreigner who has been permitted to own 20% of our airport after a 30-year lease. What a shock. Something that any Kenyan cannot be allowed to do, regardless of how much money they have. And yet these are foreigners, and they are allowed to own this. The purported foreigners are not even foreigners. They are proxies for Kenyans who hide behind foreign names and foreign faces. Our money that has been stolen since 2013 when Uhuru Kenyatta was president has started coming back through proxies in the face of investors. They call it public-private partnership or privatization or foreign investment. Very sweet words for state capture and money laundering. In February of 2024, the Cabinet of Kenya, led by President William Ruto, approved the following state corporations for sale. The first one was the National Bank of Kenya, where the government of Kenya owns 22% and NSSF owns 48%. Consolidated Bank of Kenya, where the Deposit Protection Fund owns 50% on behalf of the government of Kenya. Development Bank of Kenya, where ICDC owns 89% on behalf of the government of Kenya. Agrochemical and Food Corporation ADC, where ADC owns 28% and ICDC owns 28%, all on behalf of the government of Kenya. These are state corporations that were supposed to be sold or privatized. Kenya Wine Agencies, 72% is owned by ICDC. East African Portland Cement, warehouses were demolished recently. NSSF owns 27% and government of Kenya owns 25%. All this is the government of Kenya ownership. Kenya Meat Commission was to be privatized, where the government owns 100%. New KCC, ya maziwa, government of Kenya owns 100%.